podcast. I'm your host, John Light, founder and CEO of Sabretooth Recruiting. And today I'm very excited to have another founder, another entrepreneur, another executive joining me, Stanislav. He goes by Stas Chijik. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, John. Really great to be on.
Well, so listen, 2 or 3 weeks ago we were talking and you were overseas conducting business, had a lot of stuff going on, and we set this appointment to talk. And what really got my interest from that first conversation in part is that you've had this company, BillfoldPOS.com is the website, for what, 8 years plus now, from start to where it is today. But not only that, I think I've actually used your technology at an event and at other times in my life. So I'm hoping that you can give us kind of a 90-second rundown of what got you to Billfold POS and what you guys are up to today.
Yeah, absolutely. So what got me into this was running events, seeing the struggles of transactions taking up too much time. And Billfold was really created to optimize transaction speeds for large-scale events and venues.
Interesting. Okay. How did you end up with the concept from, okay, here it is, we're starting it from scratch, right? And you've got hardware issues and software issues, and all of your revenue comes from these discrete events, concerts, carnivals, whatever they may be. How on earth did you get that off the ground? I mean, because you've got a lot of investment in the hardware and software, then you got to talk marketing and deployment and actual execution. I mean, how do you make all those different parts tick?
Yeah, I think it's about being young and ambitious. That's really what, got us into it. Originally, when we started, we had no idea what we were getting into. We just had a goal to basically improve our own operations. But when we saw it working for our own events, that's kind of when we realized we have to bring it out into the world and actually start selling it to more clients. Nowadays we're supporting some of the largest events across the country, have done events as large as Outside Lands, EDC, serving hundreds of thousands of people per show. So I guess it is about being young and foolish, but then, just digging into it and continuing to build on what you started, and then listening to your clients, because at the end of the day, the clients are the ones that will drive your product forward and tell you which features you need to build on. And over the last 8 years, we really have accelerated the product to being one of the best in class for this vertical.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because typically, when I hear product and I hear best in class and I hear phrases like this, listening into our customers and making these adjustments, these refinements, these evolutions, I typically expect there to be one major problem above all else that you solve, or your product solves for your customers. So maybe take us through, what is that big problem you guys solve?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the biggest problem I would say is that a lot of the systems aren't really designed for this vertical. You have a lot of horizontal products that try to serve coffee shops, restaurants, but very few of them truly address what a large scale event is. And a large scale event is a conglomeration of businesses, right? So you might have hundreds, if not, thousands of different locations that are selling. And each location needs to be able to, first of all, transact, but also report. And reporting across hundreds of locations can be difficult. So our product makes it easy for these big events and venues to have transparency for all the different vendors, and then allows the event organizer or the venue operator to see everything across board. And that's really the big differentiator, is the transparency that we bring into these events and venues. But again, while also being able to actually segregate some of the information as well, right? Because you might not have a person that is managing your menus or managing your advertisements, because our POS also allows for advertising. You might not want them to see some of the sales reporting. So we have over 300 different permissions that allow us to, like I said, segregate the way information is controlled, and then give everyone the transparency they need and do their job that they need to do.
So I come from a background early in my career in the accounting space, financial reporting, your month end close, your year end close, all this fun stuff. And so when I hear information transparency and you're talking about these permissions and whatnot, a couple of things come to mind. Number one, I'm curious to know how fast a transaction, a sale, is articulated up to someone who's responsible ultimately for overseeing that. Not just at the point of sale, but say from a management perspective. But number two, one of the big problems, and I think it's always been there for financial reporting, is the timeliness of information. And that's why it comes to mind because, if you look at a balance sheet, you're looking at a snapshot in that moment of time. If it's a balance sheet dated December 31st of whatever year, that's where the company is right there. Now, the P&L may reflect the entirety of the year if you look at year to date, but when you break it down month to month, there's always lagging indicators that may not show up in your results or only show up in partial results over the span of months or even years. So, I'm curious to know more about information transparency and the speed at which you can get it articulated to the people who are responsible for the sales, for the advertising, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, in our case, it's virtually instantaneous. The information is available right away in a live dashboard. So our clients are able to view all the sales across board, honestly, right as they happen, and they can actually start making decisions based on that. And given, the variety of filtering, that we have within the solution, they can really drill down and understand what's working and what's not, and then actually, have actions that correct behavior, that potentially allow them to move around staff. So that way, if you have areas that are backed up, they can actually add additional staff to those areas. Areas that are potentially slow, they can actually remove staff from those areas or actually cut them so that way they can reduce their overhead. So yeah, for us, instant information is basically the name of the game. And the only time when you don't get that is when you have offline situations, because in environments like events, internet isn't exactly stable, but our product does preserve the transactions, does preserve this information, and ultimately we actually, upload that information as soon as the internet is restored. So, we have 99.99% capture rate on all transactions. So we're built for all sorts of these kinds of environments.
It's interesting to me too, and I'm assuming this is something that you had in mind from the jump. Is that quick delivery of accurate information for decision making? Because at any venue, if it's a concert, at some point your time window to increase your revenue, your sales of whatever, just shrinks rapidly, and it's always less time. It always feels like less time than it is, right? And the ability to make quality decisions on the fly, communicate those, get them effective. I mean, that's a huge benefit, I got to think, for something that's time limited, like a concert or some other entertainment event.
Yeah, absolutely. And another way that we help solve for, again, driving those revenues in the short period of time is through actually wristband and RFID spending. So while Billfold does accept all payment types, the thing that we did start the business around was enabling the event wristband to be the payment method. And the big differentiator for us was that we actually developed direct credit card connection to that wristband. So people no longer had to think about how much money they're spending before they're attending a show or before they started to buy things. All they need to do is just scan that wristband, attach their credit card. And by, again, enabling the event wristband to be the payment method, we help save a lot of time on the transactions. One of the things that we see around the increase in spending, first of all, is by standardizing the form of payment. So that way, every time a customer walks up to a bar to purchase something, we're actually removing that friction of going in your pocket, taking out your phone or wallet, worst case, pulling it out of your purse or backpack, because that's what will actually slow down all of the transactions for all the people standing in line. So by making it simple for the consumer, where a swipe of the wrist is what's actually buying them that drink, buying them that merchandise, buying them that food product, we're able to actually increase the per person spends by as much as 70%. So
No kidding.
in some cases,
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that is one of the products that to this day, even though, tap to pay cards, iPhones are now all enabled with what seems to be a very, very fast transaction, putting it on the wrist, that is what is increases the spending. So a lot of our clients opt in for that, and we're one of the very few solutions that is designed also for venue environments to do that.
No kidding, man. Okay, so I got to ask, and I'm following on to our prior conversation, so people listening, don't have the full picture, and obviously, I don't want anything confidential or covered in NDA or anything like that. But looking out in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years for Billfold POS, what's on the horizon? What's on the menu that you all are lining up?
Yeah, so one of the things that we are very excited about, just because again, we've now had 8 years of building out technology that increases transaction speeds, and the technology to this day has been the wristband as being the most effective. We are starting to move into biometric payments. So again, allowing our customers to switch from using a wristband to just taking a picture of their face. With
Oh,
that, we
facial
believe
recognition.
we will
Okay.
facial recognition. And with that, we believe we are going to drive kind of the new era of payments in this events vertical. Just because, again, we see it at airports. Now it's become quite commonplace. We're starting to see it in stadiums. And we're coming in to be that product that really covers both the operator side with an enterprise grade software hardware and the easy onboarding that we've now perfected over the years. So we're very, very excited about launching Look to Pay, which is going to be our, biometric payment method. And with that, we're going to continue to push into larger spaces like stadiums and arenas.
Yeah. So about that, I mean, I would assume one-off events with attendees in the tens of thousands would make a lot of sense. But I also figure that entertainment venues like carnivals or rodeos or circuses, things of that nature would also be prime territory potentially, especially if you have accelerated getting someone registered and good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Our goal is to introduce it a lot at first in the sports space or large music venue space, because those environments is where, it's starting to become a little bit more second nature. But as we evolve, and again, our strict point of sale product works really well, specifically in these types of large environments, we'll start to introduce it across board, right? Our goal isn't to drive 100% adoption day one. It is really going to be, voluntary to the consumer. As long as the consumer wants to experience that, payment where all they do is just walk up, grab the product and walk away, those consumers are going to be the first ones to benefit from this technology. And we believe as people start to use it, see how convenient it is, more and more people will start to adopt it. But we're really believers that, privacy is number one. And if people don't feel like the technology is intruding on their privacy, then they should sign up. Again, really, it is all about voluntary, use of biometrics. We do hear a lot of news around venues using biometrics to find people through the camera systems. I'm personally not a big fan of that. It is really about, using it strictly for this purpose and making the consumer feel liberated from, having to look at their phone when they're buying things
Yeah.
or, again, pulling out that wallet.
It's interesting because as you were talking about, privacy, the first thing that was in my mind before you even said that word was security. And in the sense of, well, you've got my biometric information. I mean, every time you go through an airport, somebody's snapping your face and checking you out. I mean, that's just life nowadays. But I was going to say, you've got to have some robust back end and agreements in place so as to not have that information, run off with. And forget bad actors. You also have this whole other governmental jurisdictions out there that may want to access information. And man, I tell you, it is a brave new world when we're stepping out into that space. So kudos to you guys for doing it and for having privacy top of mind and prioritizing it, because I think that's When we talk about the confidence to do something of that nature, I think that's a big part of the equation, personally.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's feeling someone's got your back, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, we use government certified technology. We obviously segregate all this information, lock it up so it can't be accessed by anyone. So, we are using the absolute best practices for doing biometric payments. But on the other hand, truth be told, is that every single time you post a picture on Instagram or a video or on Facebook or on LinkedIn, doesn't really matter. The information's out there. It is also about, on our end, using the best in class technology to recognize you for you. And to be honest, spoofing this technology is almost nearly impossible. There are liveness checks that happen. There is actually checks that happen to see if a person's wearing a mask. So there are so many controls in place, especially in the world that we live in now with AI. The recognition has just reached an incredible level where, again, fooling it is nearly impossible. And if someone tries to fool it, then the transaction won't go through.
Cool. Well, let me ask, Stas, if somebody has questions about you, about BillfoldPOS.com, about the technology you all are deploying, what's in the future, what's the best way for folks to find you all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a very easy to reach person, so you can find me on LinkedIn, Stas Chijik, or you can actually just go ahead and email me directly, stas@BillfoldPOS.com. Always happy to chat with people who are interested in event technology. If you are putting on an event and like to get a demo of our product, always more than happy. So feel free to reach out to me. Also, check out our website, billfold.tech. I know my email is slightly different from our website, again, transitioning phases. But yeah, billfold.tech is our website. You can learn more about it. Check out our Instagram, simply billfold. So yeah, you can just reach out, and would be more than happy to speak about, what you're looking for.
Awesome. Stas, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, John. Really appreciate the chat.